Welcome to the Cochise District Virtual Spring Day Camp, 4 through 8 May 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Scouts salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Now we'll have a scout lead us in the scout oath and law. So, signs up.
On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country and obey the Scout law, to help people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
Thank you. That was great. So, are we ready to start for the day? I think so. So, welcome again to day 2 of the Cochise District Virtual Day Camp. Again, my name is Miss Juanita. I'll be your virtual tour guide. I'd like to thank you for coming back and taking the time to join us again. So, a little problems from yesterday. Because we have listed that we have youth on the channel, we cannot make comments. So if any comments need to be made, please reply back to the email and let us know. So otherwise, everything seems to be going okay. The video is going to be available every day this week. So yesterday's video will be on today. It'll be available tomorrow, and it'll be available all the way through Friday. Remember, for those that are tuning in, if there's a craft and you want to take a break, please do so. You can come back and finish it anytime. We really are looking forward to seeing any kinds of photos of your scouts during your activities, and if they finish their crafts. Now, yesterday, we had that snakes craft, and we had that stem paper chain challenge. Did anybody make another paper chain? I did. So let me show you. My first paper chain was only this long. Well, I decided I would do something. And let's see, my next paper chain was from one sheet of paper, under 30 minutes. Was this long? Oh my goodness. Definitely longer than yesterday's. Can anybody tell what I did different? What did you do different? Let us know. And if you have pictures, let us know. We'd love to see them. So, are you ready for day 2? I'm ready. So, let's begin. Welcome to day 2, exploring the animal kingdom. Our focus is mainly on the vertebrates, and there are 5 categories. Do you remember what they are? Reptiles, birds, fish, mammals, and amphibians. Yesterday, we talked about reptiles. There are a lot of reptiles. We could not cover them all if we wanted to. They have 6 characteristics. Of course, 1, they have a vertebrae. They're cold-blooded. They breathe with lungs. Many of them have 4 legs. They lay eggs, or at least most of them do. And they have scales or scutes. So, I had you think about it. What one do you think we're going to do today? Well, all I can say is it has to do with water. And if you guess, fish is correct. Now, fish have are very diverse. That means they have a lot of different varieties. They live under specific underwater environments, all the way from streams and lakes to the vast expanse of the ocean. In fact, it is the most diverse among species among the vertebrates. There are 32,000 different types of fish. And that's according to FishBase, which is a database of information of fish used by researchers and zoologists. Now, the 5 common traits. First of all fish are cold blooded. Do you remember what cold blooded is? It's called ectothermic, which means they're unable to regulate their body temperature and they rely solely on what their outside environment temperature is for their regulation. And their temperature of the fish changes as the temperature changes around them. Many fish species are extremely sensitive to temperature changes and are only able to exist in a specific water temperature. Other species are able to survive in wider temperature ranges. A fish's body temperature, of course, will change according to the water around them, but as a result, the colder the water and the decrease of the fish's temperature can make them sluggish or even go dormant during cold spells, like in the winter months with a lake when it freezes over. The second thing is its water habitat. All fish live in water. It may seem obvious, but some fish can spend a significant time, which is a lot of time, outside of the water. One, for an example, is a mud skipper. They interact with each other on land and only go underwater, or most often go underwater, only to protect themselves from predators. They don't have lungs, but can breathe through their skin and keep their gills moist with water, which they store that's internally. Well, something to think about is that while all fish live in water, not everything that lives in water is a fish. There are whales and dolphins, which are mammals. Turtles live in water too, but we know what they are. We talked about them yesterday. They're reptiles. The third thing is they have gills to breathe. To be classified as a fish, you have to have gills throughout the life cycle. Okay, gills are necessary for underwater life. They allow fish to absorb oxygen from water and release carbon dioxide, which allows them to breathe underwater. All fish have gills, but some species of fish live in extremely oxygen depleted environments, so they have developed lungs as well. As with living in water, all fish have gills, but not everything that has gills is a fish. Fish have gills throughout their lifespan, while other species that have gills often lose them at some point, such as tadpoles, for example, had gills, but eventually they lose them as they metamorphose into frog. The fourth thing, they have swim bladders. All fish have a swim bladder. This is a special organ that is filled with air to help ensure that they maintain a stable buoyancy in the water that's neither sinking or floating too much. A swim bladder allows the fish to sleep without sinking to the bottom of its habitat. In some species of fish, air is swallowed and sent to the swim bladder. This helps the fish to survive in waters that do not have a lot of oxygen. The last and fifth thing is they have fins for movement. Fins are the most universal characteristic of fish. Many types of fins exist, but the most common are the tail fin, a matching pair of side fins, dorsal fins, and an anal fin. And the general purpose of fins is to provide motion, maneuverability, and stability. We'll hear more about that later. Now, we've talked about the 5 characteristics of fish, and we know that there are so many species. Today, we're going to specifically talk about those that are in Arizona. And to do that, we're going to have Miss Sheila. So, let's hear what she has to say.
Hi, Miss Sheila here. We're going to be talking about fish today, specifically fish that are here in Arizona. In general, fish are cold-blooded vertebrates that live in water, and they breathe and dissolve oxygen through their organs in their gills. They are generally characterized by size and shape and their habitats and feeding preferences in water, as well as water temperature preferences. Some fish will live in salt water, some will live in fresh water, and some will kind of split their life between living in both. All of the fish in Arizona are freshwater fish. Fish have streamlined bodies and they're covered in scales, and they swim by flexing their bodies to get them to move from side to side, that typical swishy swashy fish motion. Fins help them to steer and helps them to also stop, use them as brakes. I hadn't really thought much about how a fish stops, and now you know. Many species include a bladder inside where they can convert the oxygen they bring in through the water into air, and they like puff up this balloon inside of them. It helps them maintain buoyancy as well as the depth at which they are swimming. Most fish reproduce by laying eggs, and some of them will lay the eggs just freely in the water and let them drift wherever they wish. And some of them will lay their eggs closer to the lower surface of where they happen to be, like in shallow water or whatever. And sometimes the eggs float, sometimes they sink, sometimes they attach to vegetation, or sometimes the fish will actually bury the eggs. So it actually varies quite widely depending upon the species of the fish. All right, so we're going to talk about some fish that we have here in Arizona that are, 2 of them we'll talk about that are actually native to Arizona. And the other fish we'll be talking about have been imported. They've been brought in either for a specific purpose, or they were brought in just to populate urban lakes and the man-made lakes created by dams on primarily the Colorado River. So the first fish we're going to be talking about is actually the Apache trout. It is one of 2 fish that is native to Arizona. It is found only in the White Mountains, in the lakes and streams, up in the forest area up there in the White Mountains, and also on the reservation lands in the northeastern part of the state. It is farmed in hatcheries. That's the most common way of producing the fish. And they are stocked in the Little Colorado River, the Black River, and the Lee Valley Lake. These are all up in the White Mountains areas. So those fish eat insects, they eat invertebrates, which would be worms and snails and things like that. It's a very easy fish to catch. They love worms, they love the artificial flies, they love salmon eggs, and they can get quite large, actually, from 6 inches long to up to about 24 inches, which is 2 feet. So you can say, how big was it and what did it do? So it really was about that long. And they range from 6 ounces in weight to about 6 pounds. That's a pretty good fish. Probably put up a pretty good fight. The next fish that is native to Arizona is the desert sucker. It probably doesn't win any beauty contests. It's not one of the prettier fishes, but you know what? It serves a very specific purpose. It is native to Arizona. It's abundant in the Gila and Verde rivers. It prefers streams that are quiet, and it also likes rocky and gravelly pools. It doesn't particularly care for lakes that are created by dams, and it loves to eat insect larvae and algae. It grows 8 inches to 31 inches long, can range from 4 ounces to about 4 pounds. Again, a very tasty fish, apparently, as is the Apache trout. Very, very popular and sought after fish for those who are doing some fishing. Okay, the next fish we're going to talk about is the grass carp. And it looks like this. The grass carp is also referred to as the white amur. It is a native of Eastern Asia, and it was brought to Arizona for the specific purpose of weed control, primarily in the metropolitan Phoenix area for the canal system that's run by the Arizona Canal and Salt River Project. If you happen to be up in the Phoenix metropolitan area and you're doing urban fishing, and you happen to catch a grass carp or white amur, do not keep it. They are highly protected. There's a stiff fine associated with catching of those fish. And if you catch it, you are to return it and release it back into the canal. The grass carp, as mentioned, it in its name, it eats vegetation. It just loves the wavy grass that is, and then the algae that's attached to that grass that is in slow moving or nearly, I would say stagnant, but pools that don't move very quickly, which would describe the canal system in the metropolitan Phoenix area. They are, they can be up to 50 pounds, very long. I didn't was able to find out how long that is, but I can imagine that a 50-pound fish would be pretty good sized. Okay, the next fish that we're going to talk about is the bluegill. The bluegill is native to Mississippi River and the Great Lakes. It was brought to Arizona in 1932 to help stock some of the new dams that were, the lakes that were created by dams. It is kind of a notorious bait thief. If you are a fisherman, you know how it will nibble your bait and run off with it. They eat just about anything. They aren't particularly fussy. They love insects, worms, snails, and their preference is insects and worms and snails, but they will eat anything, including other small fish. They live in reservoirs and ponds in the lower deserts. They prefer water that is less than 10 feet deep, so they tend to be in the shallower sections of the lakes, particularly along the shorelines. So if you're doing bank fishing, there's a very good chance that you have seen them and you probably have caught them. They range from 4 inches to 10 inches long. They're from 3 ounces to about 2 pounds, so they're pretty good eating if you can get a bunch of them. And they live about 10 years. All right, the next fish we're going to talk about that is in Arizona is not native to Arizona, and it's actually not even a bass. It's called the largemouth bass. Okay, largemouth bass is really actually a member of the sunfish family. It's not a true bass. If you remember, we were talking earlier about the characteristics of fish. It would have to have a double dorsal fin. And it kind of does, but it is still it's a sunfish genetically. It's native to the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River Basin. It was brought to Arizona over 100 years ago, late 1800s. And it is found in most of the states except the very high, cool mountain lakes. Prefers warm, clear water. And it can grow anywhere from 10 to 28 inches long, 8 ounces to 16 pounds. Very nice fish. All of the lakes in the Phoenix metropolitan area, Saguaro Lake, Roosevelt Lake, Canyon Lake, and so on, as well as Patagonia Lake and Parker Canyon Lake. To you guys that are out of state, I'm referring to Arizona locations, but those you'll find the largemouth bass in all of those lakes. Another fish we're going to be talking about is a channel cat. Another very popular fish. It is native to the drainage areas or deltas of southern Canada and northern Mexico in the swampy areas. It's been in the United States or been in Arizona since the early 1900s. It has those distinctive whiskers. Contrary to popular belief, they do not use them as weapons. They are used to hunt and provide a sense of taste and smell for the fish. The dorsal fin is where the trouble begins. It's a very sharp spine on the back of the fish, and that can really hurt if he gouges that into you. The channel cat can be anywhere from 10 to 39 inches long, about 12 ounces to about 15 pounds. Fairly large fish. They're fighters, so they're very popular fish among fishermen because they put up such a struggle when you're trying to bring them in. They are very abundant in warm rivers and lakes. They'll eat absolutely anything. They are scavengers. It doesn't matter if it's dead, alive, or whatever. Their preference is for minnows, crayfish, insects. They also like worms and snails. They're fairly easy to catch, but they are smart. So once they've been caught and released, they're going to be much more difficult to catch. But they are abundant in a lot of the rivers and some in the lakes in Arizona. Okay, the next fish we're going to be talking about actually the last fish for today's feature is the tiger trout, excuse me. Tiger trout. The tiger trout is found in only 2 areas in Arizona. In the lakes in the White Mountains, including Becker and Carner Lake, and the Wood Canyons Lake and Willow Springs Lakes in the Mogollon Rim. They likes the cooler waters. And this fish, the tiger trout, is actually a cross between the male brown trout and the female brook trout. It's a very popular stocking fish. It does not exist naturally in nature because the fish is unable to reproduce on its own. So it is easy to keep the population under control in lakes and rivers. And it's a very common and popular fish for fishing. It grows from about 3 inches for the little juveniles up to about 25 inches long, and can get up to about 5 pounds. So it's a nice fish. It's a fighter. It's fun for fishermen to catch. Its favorite food is insects and invertebrates, which would include snails and worms. The bigger ones, the ones that would get up to about 5 pounds, could actually eat crayfish and other small fish. So there you have it. There's your fish report for the day for Arizona. So if you guys that are tuning in from other councils out of the state, you want to come and join us at some point, hope you enjoy bringing a fishing rod, and make sure you get an Arizona fishing license, and be sure that you get the trout sticker. Otherwise, you catch that trout, you have to turn him loose. And if you get caught with a trout, it's not pretty. So make sure you get the trout sticker as well as your Arizona fishing license. All right, see you on the lake. Hey, Juanita.
Yes, Miss Sheila.
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
I don't know. What do you call a fish with no eyes?
Visually impaired.
Oh.
Hey, Juanita.
Yeah, Miss Sheila.
What did the shark say after eating a clownfish?
I don't know. What did a shark say?
Did that taste funny?
No. Hey, Miss Sheila.
Yes.
What do you call the most famous fish?
The most famous fish? I wouldn't know.
A starfish.
Hey, Juanita.
Yes, Miss Sheila.
Why do sharks swim in salt water?
I don't know. Why do sharks swim in salt water?
Because pepper water makes them sneeze.
Go! Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark. Mommy shark do 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 do, mommy shark do 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 do, mommy shark do 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 do, mommy shark. Daddy shark do 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 do, daddy shark do 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 do, daddy shark do 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 do, daddy shark. Grandma shark do 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 do, grandma shark do 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 do, grandma shark do 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 do, grandma shark. Grandpa shark do 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 do, grandpa shark do 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 do, grandpa shark do 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 do, grandpa shark. Let's go hunt do 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 do, let's go hunt do 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 do, let's go hunt do 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 do, let's go hunt. Swim away do 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 do, swim away do 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 do, swim away do 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 do, swim away. Safe at last do 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 do, safe at last do 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 do, safe at last do 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 do, safe at last. It's the end do 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 do, it's the end do 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 do, it's the end do 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 do, it's the end.
Wow, that was a fun song. I hope you enjoyed it. Now we're going to talk a little bit about jellyfish. And to help us do that, we're going to have Mr. Bob. So take it away.
Hey Scouts, I'm Bob. I'm here to talk to you today about jellyfish. Evidently, you will be working on a jellyfish craft in the near future. Before you start, I wanted to tell you 10 fun facts about jellyfish. The first fact is that jellyfish are not fish. They're actually invertebrates. Invertebrates are animals that do not have a spine. The second fun fact is that they can be found in warm or cold water, deep water, or along coastlines. Funny thing though, they cannot survive in fresh water. They have to be in the ocean. The third fun fact is jellyfish have tiny stinging cells in their tentacles to stun or paralyze their prey. The fourth one is that they move by squirting water from their mouths. That's weird. The fifth fact is that jellyfish stings can be very painful to humans, and in some cases, a sting can be dangerous and deadly. The sixth fact is that they digest their food very quickly, or they would not be able to float because they would sink because of the food. The seventh fact is that they eat fish, shrimp, crabs, and tiny plants. Number 8 is they come in a lot of colors. They come in pink, blue, purple, and they are clear. The ninth fact is the Chinese use jellyfish in medicine. And my favorite one is the box jellyfish. The 10th fact is the box jellyfish is actually the most venomous jellyfish and is dangerous to humans. It's actually one of the most venomous creatures in the entire world. Well, that was the 10 fun facts about jellyfish. Enjoy your craft.
Hi, Miss Tossany here, and this time I have joining me Nellie and Rosie.
Hi. And we are twins if there is any question.
They are twins, and right now they're bears, and we'll be going into Webelos at their crossover. So today we're going to make a jellyfish craft. So jellyfish. We have what you're going to need is a paper towel or is a toilet paper roll. If you don't have a toilet paper roll, you could use a paper towel roll and cut it in half. We are all going to use a toilet paper roll. And what you're going to want to do is make sure that if there's any lingering toilet paper on the roll, that you either peel it off, or if it's a little bit, just rub it off or scratch it off. But you want to have it all off. So.
But what if it's too much and you can't get it off?
Then maybe you need to get a different roll. So, but most of the time you can get it off or scratch off. And if there's a little residue, don't worry about if it's just a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
But you can scratch it off.
You can pull it off.
Yep. And so once you get it off, you need to decide how you want to color yours. So the various ways you can color it is if you want to cover it in construction paper.
Me. I want to do that, Mom.
To do that, what you do is you measure at what point you need to take that off.
Multiple different colors.
If you're going to do multiple colors, you just use the markers.
Okay.
And so what you're going to do is then cut that on a straight line once you measure it. Yes, I'm just eyeing it. And then you'll use the glue to...
Or tape.
Probably not tape. You take some glue, do a line of glue.
And then you just...
This glue doesn't want to come out.
Yeah.
Put a quiet line of glue on there.
But there's still toilet paper.
And then, this is my example. This isn't what I'm making. And then you'll go around it. And when you get back to where you glued it before, you glue it again.
Okay.
And then you do this. And I have extra here, so I'm going to cut the extra off. You could continue wrapping it around if you don't want to cut it off and glue it down. So then you glue it on. So that is one method for doing it. The one that I'm going to, so do either of you want to use one where you wrapped it? Okay, so you could do that. If you have a toilet paper roll where you don't like the color of it, ours are basically white. But you could cover it in white paper too, so you have something to color. So
Can I
then,
do that? Yeah, so
no,
it's
you have,
easier
it's
to
already
color.
white. Ours are already white.
It's easier to color.
No, it's not.
This way.
Okay, so we're just going to take markers. You could do it with crayons too, because remember, this is just cardboard. And you're going to decorate it. Now, I would recommend first, grab the black marker, please. I would recommend first taking your black marker and drawing on your eyes, wherever you want your eyes to be.
I want my eyes to be purple.
Okay?
Can I do that?
But
Bob?
basically, you want to put some little eyes on
Can I?
your...
I'm gonna do it cutie eyes.
Where'd the one I just covered go?
Right there.
So you could do any eyes you want,
Cutie eyes. I like to do cutie eyes.
but you want them to be generally close to each other so that they don't look weird.
That's what I do.
See, I just drew eyes on the green one. Gonna go back over with the black. You could put blue googly eyes on if you have googly eyes.
We don't. So that why we didn't.
Yep, we don't have googly eyes.
If we did have googly eyes, we could have used them. Yeah.
If we did. Okay, so then the next thing you're gonna do after you put your eyes on is just decorate it however you want.
I'm gonna make mine a rainbow.
Okay. I'm just drawing squigglies on mine, see?
And then, what are we gonna use for the tentacles?
Just wait. So you want to color and decorate it up.
You're leaning on me. Alright.
Sorry, we are in close quarters here. Okay,
Nope.
so I just took mine and I just drew squigglies on it. My Nellie and Rosie are taking a little more time. And while they do that, I'm going to explain the next thing you're going to do. You're going to need to poke holes. Now, this is the only hole puncher we have at our house, and it's not going to work super great for this. Let's see. Let's punch one hole and see how well it does. So I was able to get a hole punched in there, and I could go all the way around. I'm going to punch another one on the top. So you're probably going to want some holes on the top.
Yeah.
2 holes on the top. And then you want holes all the way around on the bottom, okay? If you have a hole puncher, that would be the better ideal way to go. If you don't have a hole puncher, one of the things you can do is with the help of a parent, you could poke holes in it.
With scissors?
Yeah. Got to be careful.
What
Follow
are we?
rules.
Which one are we going to do, Mom?
We're going to poke holes because our hole puncher. So here I'm using the tip of a pen to push it in.
The scissors are not really working for her.
The scissors are not working. The scissors would be great if I want to put it in after the pen, just to make the hole bigger. See, I have a hole there now. I don't know if we're getting it very well. On camera, I can't see it very well. So we have, so you want to put holes in, and you want to space them about 1/2 inch apart, all the way across the bottom. So I'm just going to sit here and poke holes. Again, if you have a hole puncher, that would be the easiest way. But a hole puncher like this doesn't work very well. Probably just
like
better.
one of those small hole punchers
Yeah.
that only does one hole.
Yep, that's the one. If you have one of those, that's what you want to do. We own one somewhere, but I can't find it. So you just want to keep punching the holes in on the bottom side. So the opposite of your eyes. On the top side, you just where your eyes are, just 2 opposite of each other. They don't need to be fancy or big or...
Voila. Mine's so far.
Okay.
This is mine so far. Mom, can I please do mine now?
Your holes.
Mm-hmm.
So then, let me get this one last hole punched.
That one looks
Okay, here you go.
beautiful,
Here,
Rosie.
punch your hole in. Be very careful as you push it through. I'm going to use the scissors to make some of them just a tad bit bigger.
Okay.
Okay, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to need to make the jellyfish strange tails. Now, things that we have around our house that we could suggest is I have these white pieces of the innards of a 550 cord. We made a lot of masks. And so right now all of them are the length for the masks. And then we gutted our 550 cord and we used them to create the cords for our masks. But these you could use as your string hanging down. That would be an option.
Or we could use these.
So what you're going to do is you're just going to...
2 holes on the bottom?
No, you're going to do holes all the way around on the bottom.
I did it on the top accidentally.
So you're just going to tie them on all the way around. Some other things you could do is, before we started using the 550 cords, we made these strips of fabric. And you could use just strips of fabric or ribbon to put on the bottom. These will be harder if you didn't have a hole punch to cut them, or to punch the holes. Oh, see, I just tore my one hole with this. See if I can get it in the hole.
Those are also from making masks.
Yeah, that's what I told them at the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
Is
we have a
we
lot
make-
of stuff that we use to make masks.
We made a number of masks.
Like we did one for my teacher.
So you're going to thread it through the hole. And the fabric is a little thick for my tiny holes that I made with the punching through the pen.
I need you to
That was
do
example.
mine.
So, but that's an example of another cord you could do. Another thing you could use is we have this old pom-pom. No.
Pom-pom.
Stop pushing the back.
I'm gonna use the pom-pom.
So if it's a pom-pom you don't need, this is one we have a few of. We got them at a football game once. Can you tell what our school is that we cheer for? No, don't say it out loud, girls. So you could even take the pom-pom friends and put it through. And then just tie it off also, just like you would any of the other bottoms. So that's an option if you don't. The thing I got this idea from used yarn, which we don't have any yarn, but we could totally use yarn for this. That's a great thing too.
You guys could use yarn.
So another thing that I thought of as a suggestion when I looked at what we did have is we have these rubber bands, and you could totally put a rubber band in there and let the rubber bands hang off too. No, sit down. No. So these are different options for doing it around. We're going to stop the camera now and finish poking our own holes and then show you our finished product.
Here
Okay.
is my jellyfish.
That's her jellyfish. Here is Miss Rosie's jellyfish. Now, what I'm going to show you right now. Now, some of you already caught on that I said to put 2 holes on the top. It works best if you have the eyes and you do one on this side of the eyes and one on this side so that they are on the sides of the eyes. And you want to make sure that these are a little further down than maybe you put some of the bottom. Didn't break. And just take a string, any type of string will do, and feed it through the holes. Feed it through the holes, and that way and then tie it off. And that way you have a way to hang it up. So like a wind chime, hang it up. And
But if you do not want it to be hanging up, you don't have to do this step.
if you know how to do a square knot, this is where you use it.
I know how to
Okay,
do square knots.
so then you have it. So it hangs off. Here you go, Rosie. Okay, so Nellie's just came off while we were talking.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So
Belly
feed it back through.
One keeps coming apart.
If you're making your holes with a pen, you might find it a little difficult to pull a string through them. You can make them a little bit bigger, or you can use the pen itself to push it through the hole. Okay, so here, and again, you just tie a square knot off at the top.
Oh no.
We'll fix it later. Okay, so here we have our jellyfishes. See? I hope you have fun.
Oh, and they also buy figures. And also, you could do you could hold this up as like a puppet and the puppet show. And do a puppet show with it.
Okay, so the girls were saying as they were making it that they thought these looked a little more like octopus. Maybe they are. I don't know.
But they're still animals. That's the good part.
Okay, so anyway, hope you had fun. Thanks for
staying. Bye. Why are fish so smart? Why? Because they live in schools.
One of these things are not like the others. Which one doesn't belong? Did you guess the shark? No, shark belongs. Sharks are a fish. It's the mermaid. She doesn't belong. She doesn't actually exist. All the rest of them are actual fish, even if they are cartoons.
Next, we're going to have Miss Sheila, and she's going to talk about fins. If you got the download, we do have a worksheet where you can fill in as she's talking. If you don't have it, don't worry. Just follow along. So, here's Miss Sheila.
Fins are the most distinguishing anatomical feature of a fish. They are composed of bony spines or rays protruding from the body with skin covering them and joining them together. It can be in a webbed fashion, as seen in some of the bony fishes, or it could be a flipper like sharks have. Apart from the tail or caudal fin, fish fins have no direct connections with the spine and are supported only by the muscles of the fish. The principal function of fins is to help the fish swim. Fins are located in different places on the fish, and they serve different purposes, such as helping to move the fish forward, helping him to steer, keeping him upright, or even to stop. Most fish use their fins when swimming, and there are some flying fish that use a pectoral fin for gliding. Fins can also be used for other purposes. Thresher sharks use a caudal fin to stun their prey. And a reef stonefish have spines in their dorsal fins to inject venom in their prey. So all these different types of fins serve a very specific purpose depending upon the species of fish. So let's take a look at what types of fins are generally common on all fish. The dorsal fin. Dorsal fin is on the back of the fish, and as mentioned, the bass family of fish have a double dorsal fin on the back. And you can fill this out as we're going along here. An adipose fin is also found on the back of the fish, and most fish have them. The caudal fin is a tail fin. And this is used to help the fish swim and also helps him to steer, much like a rudder on an airplane. The anal fin is found near the rear of the fish, where the fish would do fish business when he goes to the bathroom. Ventral fins and pectoral fin. Would be used to help propel the fish forward and also to help him maintain balance. The operculum is a fancy word for the gills on the fish. The gills on the fish is the part where the fish will open that up and draw water in and extract oxygen in order for him to live. And also we can convert that into the oxygen, the gases that would fill a gas bladder inside of the fish that would help maintain buoyancy as well as the specific depth that he's swimming at. The mouth of the fish probably requires no explanation, and neither does the eye. So, there you have it. Your basic anatomy of a fish with its various fins. And all fish have, like we said, all fish have most of these fins. Some will have a little bit different, but the important thing to remember is that these fins are used to help the fish swim and to maintain his vertical location in the water.
Well, for our STEM activity today, we have to do something with water. So I decided we would do the baggie and the pencil activity. So we need one baggie, a sharp pencil, and water. So you need to fill a baggie about 3/4 full of water and seal it shut. Now, you need to make sure you have a very sharp pencil. Now, you hold the baggie up and then you firmly press the pointy end through the side of the bag until it goes all the way through the other side of the bag. Let's see what happens. What do you think? Here we go. Wow, look at that. What do you think is the reason why the baggie didn't break? What do you think will happen if we pull the pencil out? How many pencils can we put in the bag? Well, first of all, the reason why no water goes out of the Ziploc bag is because it's made out of a thing called polymer. They have long chains of molecules that are flexible. And when you poke a sharp pencil through the baggie, the pencil, it slides in between the chain of molecules that make up the polymer. These molecule chains make a seal around the pencil that won't let the water out. Should we try another pencil? All right, let's see. Wow. Now, do this only with your parents' help. Make sure you get your baggie. See if you can do it. What a great trick to show people. Now, when you take the pencils out, what do you think is going to happen? I know what's going to happen. Why don't you let me know? Show me how many pencils you got in your baggie. Well, it's the end of day 2. I hope you had a good time. We talked about fish. We talked about the 5 characteristics. We talked about fish from Arizona. We did a nice song, Baby Shark. We talked about jellyfish, which are they really a fish? Do you remember? We did a jellyfish craft. I didn't have a toilet paper roll, so I used what I could find around the house. This is an egg carton jellyfish with some Easter grass and a paper clip. He's a baby. This is a styrofoam cup with magazine strips and a paper clip so I can hang them up. How creative were you? We even had some jokes today. I've also included in your packet another word find. So please, I hope you have fun and looking forward to another day tomorrow. So saying goodbye from Cochise District Virtual Headquarters. Until tomorrow.